Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I am your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our Badango puppy, Sophie. Welcome and Happy New Year. Today is January 1st, 2020. Did you guys make it to midnight last night? I barely made it. I was laying on the couch like this at like 10:30, and it seemed to take forever for midnight to come, but we did make it and rang in the new year, and then I promptly went up to bed. Yeah, and you guys, what a change. I just podcast a week ago, and here I am with another one. That is simply because there are things that I have finished that I need to gift, and I want to be able to post them on the podcast. I don't like just showing a picture. I like to have the real item here with me. So they're going to be gifted tomorrow, so I need to figured I have enough FOs and some whips to show you that I could go ahead and do another quick podcast. Plus, I'd kind of like to review what I managed to do in 2019. Spoiler alert, not nearly as much as I have in the past years, just FYI. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the knitting. We'll start with FOs. I have 4. The first one is a hat. This is the same pattern that I have been using for all of my hippo hats. If you guys recall from my podcast last week, the 12th hippo hat that I had knit was a cabled pattern. It was the bumblebee, the beeswax pattern, and I thought that I was being wise by cutting out a stitch repeat, a pattern repeat, and it ended up making the hat rather small. So I gave it to Tatum, who has a smaller head than the rest of us. However, it just never sat right on her, and I figured since she was keen on having a knit hat, I would knit her another one. Hats are quick and easy, and Tatum doesn't often want knitted items, so I wanted to kind of support this new desire to have something knit, so I put together a very quick hat for her. I think I knit it in like 2 days. This is knit out of Dream and Color Classy, which is a worsted base, and the colorway is Jessamine, and it's a beautiful colorway, and I love the way that it pooled. I think it came out really nice. Yeah, like I said, it's the basic recipe that I use for all my hippo hats. On a size US 5 needle, I cast on 96 stitches using a loose cast on, I don't remember what it's called, the Norwegian cast on. It's like a long tail cast on, but it's just slightly skewed. You do something just slightly different to give just a little extra stretch. And then I knit 2x2 ribbing for 40 rows. Then I folded it over and knit the cast on edge with the live edge, creating a doubled brim, and then I increased to a US 7 needle and increased 4 stitches to make it 100 stitches. Knit until the hat was 7 inches long, and then did a very basic decrease. Basically did knit 8, knit 2 together, knit 8, knit 2 together all the way around, then knit 1 round plain, then knit 7, knit 2 together all the way around, then knit 1 plain, until I had 8 or 10 stitches on the needles, and then thread the yarn through and cinched it up, and there you go. So simple, easy pattern, great hat for the winters. This double brim keeps your head, your ears nice and warm, rather, and then of course this keeps your head warm. So I highly recommend this kind of hat if you're going to spend a lot of time in the cold. We have been spending some time out, and the hats have been getting some good use. So that is my first FO. I also finished a pair of socks just last night. We went over to a friend's house for the dinner hour. I think we were there from like 6 to 9. Wanted to make sure that we were home before midnight because, well, unfortunately, there's a lot of crazies out there after dark on New Year's Eve, and I like to be home and safe. And so while we were there, I managed to finish this pair of socks, which I love to death. These are the Mustache Yarn 2019 Advent colorway, which is a very Hobbit Christmas with the coordinating heel-toe skein in figgy pudding, I think it was. Not plum pudding, figgy pudding. So these were, this was a perfect pair, perfect pair match, something like that. So the skein comes in two exactly matching 50-gram skeins, and they start at the exact same spot, so you make the socks match exactly, which is kind of a nice little trick. Plus, I just like the fact that it breaks it in half for me. But yeah, I did, the reason this is the Advent color of 2019 is there are 24 different stripes, starting, let's see, yeah, here. From this yellow to that red is 24 stripes. And at first I thought these weren't very Christmassy, but I feel like they are actually in the end. There's enough Christmas colors in there that makes me think of Christmas when I think of these. So so yeah, I really like them, and I love the figgy pudding leftover. And I'm just really happy with the way they turned out. And what's nice is that this figgy pudding was a full 20 grams, and I only used, what, like 3, 6, 9, 12? Less than, maybe half of it. So maybe it was, I don't know, there's a lot. There's still a lot left over to use for other heels and toes, which will be good because it's a good color for heels and toes. And yeah, really, really pleased with how these turned out. I think that this is like Christmas sock number 8, but don't quote me on that. I would have to get into the box. But I'm making my way through. I am hoping to have all of these done for next December. I want to have my 31 pairs of Christmas socks, at least 25 pairs of Christmas socks done by next December, and that way I can wear them for Advent, which would be wonderful. So that is my hope. And if I do manage that, then I will make sure to post pictures of them as I wear them on Instagram. I'd love to say that I would do a Vlogmas because I just really enjoy watching Vlogmas. And not even like the ones that are really active, just the folks that basically show you, them knitting or decorating the Christmas tree or, cooking, and there's just music playing in the background. Something about those just make me happy. And I would love to be able to do one of those, but I'm just not sure if I'm going to be put together enough. I have not been put together enough the past 2 years, so I don't know if I'll be able to do that. But I do hope to get at least the socks done and pictures on Instagram. So we'll see how that goes. And then my last 2 FOs go together. My dearest friend at work is a brand new grandma. Her first grandbaby was actually due in the middle of January, but the little tyke couldn't wait and was born the Saturday before Christmas. And so she's a preemie, and she's little. She's, I think, 4.5 pounds, a little over 4.5 pounds. And So I thought that it would be great to knit a newborn vertebrae for her, because um, I just love those on little, little, little wee babies, because um, they're just so cute and small, and I love that they help to kind of support the idea of skin-to-skin contact, which I think is very important for newborns, especially preemies. My oldest daughter was a preemie, and so we did a lot of skin-to-skin contact, and I really think that that helped a lot with just all of us dealing with this little tiny thing that had come, you know, a month and a half early. So anyway, so I made a newborn vertebrae and a hat for little Ryan. So here is her sweater. And this is, as I said, the newborn vertebrae, which is a pattern by Kelly Van Nykic, I think is how you say that. It is a simple raglan sweater, and you might notice that it does not, the button band, they don't match in the front, and that is on purpose. It's meant to just kind of cover the arms and the back and the sides, so it's supposed to be open in the front. And like I said, that helps to support the idea of skin-to-skin contact without having to freeze the baby out. Plus, it has an added benefit of when the baby spits up, they're not spitting up over the hand knit, they're just spitting up over their clothes, which are often more easily washed. So I love the little newborn vertebrae for baby knits. I don't often make it because not always, non-knitting families don't always understand the purpose of having a sweater that is open like this, but I feel like my friends, my coworkers, my friends, I think they'll appreciate it. And I knit this out of the Creative Obsession, which is the yarn shop that was owned by my friend Carrie. She has her own podcast, The Creative Obsession. I highly recommend you check her out. She's in Portland, in the Portland area, and well, she still is an amazing dyer, but she no longer has a shop. And this was one of her one-of-a-kind colorways, and I just thought it was beautiful. And I thought that the purple would go nicely with, you know, a baby knit. When I was pregnant with my girls, I got so much pink stuff. And so I try to make it a point not to knit pink things for baby girls and blue things for baby boys. So I thought this purple would be a nice thing, and I love the speckles of the green and the orange. I do still have quite a lot of this, enough at least to use it for heels and toes. I think I have about 20 grams left. So yeah, I'll definitely be using this in something for me because I do love this colorway. So as I said, I finished the newborn vertebrae, and then I also knit a little hat, and it's so tiny and cute. Look at this, it fits on my hand. She is only 4.5 pounds, so they've been having a problem. The newborn clothes don't fit, and they've having a hard time finding preemie clothes. So I know that the newborn vertebrae is still a little bit big, but I wanted it to be something that she could wear for more than just, you know, a couple of days. She should be able to wear this until she's a good 8 pounds, which will be good, because while I don't want it to be something that she can wear for the first year, I do want it to be able to wear it for a little bit. Okay, so yes, the hat. It is still wet. I was blocking it last night. You know, I made fun of Michelle Apple Juice on Instagram because she was talking about socks that she'd put out in Florida, where she lives, and how it had taken 4 days for them to dry because it's so humid out there. And I said, well, here in Colorado, you just barely have to take it out of the water before it's dry because it's so dry here. However, I washed and blocked these last night, and they're still wet, and it is 11:15 here, so apparently I shouldn't have been snarky. So it is still a little damp, but here it is. This pattern is called the Peachy Keen Baby Hat by Chloe Rip. It's a free pattern. And I just wanted something a little simple. I've apparently got a thing about folding up brims on hats now. I did not tack this down because I want it to be able to grow with her. I'm not sure, the baby is not here in Colorado, so I haven't been able to see her to see how, like long her forehead is or anything like that. And I will say that the pattern did not call for this little nub at the top, but I've always liked it, so I went ahead and added it. I decreased until I had 3 stitches and did an I-cord for a couple of inches and then knotted it up. I just like them on baby hats. But yeah, that is the hat and the sweater. I'm going to lay this hat down so I can finish drying. The hat is more wet than the sweater is. And I'll be able to give that to her tomorrow. I also have a couple of little outfits that I got. I got newborn size for the outfits as well because, again, the baby is growing and she will continue to gain weight and will fit into newborn soon. And I want to make sure that she'll be able to wear the outfits for the longest time possible. I will say, however, that I had a devil of a time finding an outfit that would match the sweater. I tried to do that, and I figured I picked the yarn that I wanted to knit with and the pattern and started it way before I went to buy the outfits, and I figured, it's a fairly common lavender shade. This should be easy to match, and I probably could find something that has a little bit of yellow or green or orange in it to kind of match, little complementing highlight on it. That shouldn't be hard, but finding purple in the baby clothes was really hard. There wasn't much of it. There was lots of pink, of course, and there was like blues and yellows, but the wrong kinds of shades of yellows. And I did end up finding one outfit that had purple in it. It's not quite the same shade as this one, but I feel like it'll probably be okay. And if they don't end up wearing the sweater, putting the sweater on the baby with the outfit, that's completely fine. They can do whatever they want with it, really. It is theirs. They don't even have to put the baby in it at all. They could just use it for wiping down their counters. It's all up to them. I enjoyed making it. I enjoy giving the gift, and that is all that I expect from it. So yes, those are the things that I have finished. I do have a couple of whips. But they're not very exciting, I'll just tell you now. Since I finished those socks last night, I went ahead and cast on for Delaney's fingerless gloves. If you recall from last week, she had asked me to make coordinating fingerless mitts for herself and her 2 BFFs, and so I did, and we spent some time with one of those BFFs' families last night, and their daughter had her gloves on like all night long, and she thought they were the most awesome things ever. So that was kind of cool. And then Delaney, of course, made a point to point out to me that she couldn't wear her fingerless gloves because I hadn't knit them yet. So I went ahead and cast them on, and I've made great progress. I have 1 row knit, but at least they're cast on, and these will be my sock project, the one that I will carry around with me and work on at work and whatnot. And so hopefully these will get done. I would like to get them done before Delaney goes back to school, which is next week. So it really doesn't take long to knit a pair of fingerless gloves, unless I completely get distracted. I should be able to get it done before she goes back to school. And that way she can wear them, and they can all be matchy-matchy. So there's that, and then I started, I opened up my first advent for the Forbidden Fibers advent calendar today. If you recall from last week, I had bought it in the middle of December, and as I had planned on just opening it to whatever day it was, so I was just going to open up, 2.5 weeks worth all at once. But I opened the first box and I discovered that there was a a clue, just partial clue for just that mini, for a mystery cal, and I loved the idea of just having a day's worth of this pattern to knit. I feel like I can keep up with 10 grams a day, and yeah, so I decided that instead of opening it in December and falling behind, I was going to go ahead and wait until January and have it be my January Advent. Because January 24th is a very special day, I'm sure, for somebody. So I have opened that and I have started it. I haven't gotten very far with this either, but I do have, it calls for a provisional cast on, and then I have done one repeat of the lace. Apparently there is lace. So I still don't know what this is, but I assume that since it has a provisional cast on, I will be picking up these stitches at some time and continuing on this way, or Kitchenering it together, so it could be a cowl, or a shawl. I don't know. We'll see. But it looks lovely so far. And this is the mini that I got today. It's gorgeous. The colorway is called Buddy. Let's see if I can find the tag. Which is from the movie Elf. I forgot to mention this entire Advent calendar is for Christmas movies, so every colorway is named after a Christmas movie. This is in her, that's the yarn brand. It's in the Superstition base, which is 75% merino, 25% nylon, and like I said, the colorway is Buddy. It's a beautiful green. It also came with this little Santa Claus stitch marker, and yeah, so that's kind of cool, and I'm making my progress. So I'll get through this mini today, and then tomorrow evening, because I have to go back to work tomorrow, I will do January 2nd's, or I'll do the second one, and continue on with that. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, and project's going to be in this bag. This is one of the new knitting bags that my Aunt Kathy made for me for Christmas. It was this one, and this beautiful owl one, and this one, which I think is my favorite. I love woodland creatures a lot, and so it's this one's just covered in cute woodland creatures in all of the colors that Cristi likes. So, and then lastly, my final whip is one that you guys have seen 150 million times. I finally decided that it's time to buckle down and finish my blasted hippo scrappy sweater. I looked on Ravelry today, discovered that I started this in November of 2018, so this sweater is now more than a year old. Which is ridiculous. I realize that I have not been as productive with my knitting in 2019 as I have been in past years, but I should not take me a year to knit a blasted sweater. So I have, as you might remember, I finished the entire body, and I am working on the first sleeve. Unfortunately, I'm not even halfway through it, but it is going. I find that once I sit down and start something, like the sleeve, then it goes faster. It's just that starting. It's the same with button bands. The same issue with button bands. They can sit for ages and ages and ages, and I will put it off and put it off and put it off, and then finally I will pick up the stitches for the button band, and then I blink and the button band's done. So it's just getting that started. And the first sleeve is always the worst because you have to kind of figure out exactly how it's going to work. And while I am mostly following, or I had originally planned on following this basic raglan pattern by Joji Locatelli, I ended up going kind of off on my own. So I'm kind of looking at it for slight guidance on the sleeves, but a lot of it I'm just kind of doing out of my head like I did with the rest of the sweater. Since it's such a basic pattern, I didn't think it was going to be all that big of a deal if I kind of played it by ear, if you will. So, but yeah, I am looking forward to getting this finished. There have been so many days when it would be perfect to wear the sweater, and I haven't been able to. So I really want to get it done and finally get it worn. And then once I get it finished, I can go back to my Tega sweater, which is the super bulky one with the color work across the chest. That has been sitting now for like a month. So it is time to get that one done too. And yeah, I'm actually looking at the knitting bags that I have with projects in them and thinking to myself that it is time to get those all off the shelf. I used to be such a monogamous knitter. I never had more than 2 or 3 projects going at any one time, and the only reason why I had that many was because I needed to have different kinds of projects. Like I had a big project, a sweater or a shawl or a blanket, and then a smaller project that was portable, like a pair of socks, and then maybe a hat or something, or a commission piece or something like that. And now it, like, there, and I realize, I say all of this understanding that there are people that have many more projects on the go, or even not on the go, but that are whips or UFOs than I do. But it is completely unlike me to have this many. I have 4 project bags over there that have not been touched since before December, and then I have the sweater, and yeah, it just seems like a lot, and they're all big things, not small things that I can finish in a day, but things that are going to take me several weeks to get finished. So yeah, trying to do better about that in 2020. We'll see how that goes. Speaking of doing better, let me tell you about the things that I accomplished in 2019. And when I started this podcast, I think this is the 4th December. I think I started it in December of 2016. So I think this is my 3rd, 17, 20, yeah, I think this is my 3rd anniversary this December. And in 2017, which would have been my first full year knitting, I knit like 61 pairs of socks and several sweaters and several hats and whatnot. Things went down in 2018 because I went back to work full time, and you know, life happens. 2019 has gotten even worse. I managed to knit. I went through my Ravelry, and I had like a whole list of all the things that I normally knit in a year, and it didn't take me very long to get through all of the pictures. Like, goodness gracious, compared to past years, you know, I've been knitting for going on 13 years, and this has not been a very productive year. Not to say that it's been bad. I have knit some things that I've loved, and I have still knit continuously every single day. It's just that I haven't gotten as much done in a day as I would have done in the past. So I'm not getting down on myself. It was just a little surprising. So I knit 32 pairs of socks, which is still very decent. And a lot of those were gift socks, which was kind of nice. I gave socks to my aunt and my uncle. I gave socks to my mother, and plenty of socks to my daughter, and several pairs to my husband as well. So that's kind of nice to be able to kind of gift these things. Sock knitting is still my favorite type of knitting, but I found that I kind of lost a little bit of the mojo because I don't need any more socks. So it's been nice to knit them for other people and be excited about knitting them again. I knit the 12 hippo hats, so that was 12 hats, plus I knit a hat for Tatum and a hat for my mother-in-law at the beginning of the year. So 14 hats total. I really enjoyed knitting the hats. Kind of wish that I that you needed to go through hats like you need to go through socks, because I still have several skeins of DK and worsted weight yarn that I had bought for hats, but I'm like, how many hats do I need? Because you can only wear one at a time, and they don't get dirty like socks do. So you know, it's not like you go through them, you know. So, but I will say, with my hair shorter, my ears get cold, and so having hats is a good thing. Although it does mess up my hair, which is something I never had to worry about when it was longer. It just, I could wear the hat, take the hat off, not a problem. But now when I take the hat off, the hair's everywhere. I knit only 2 pairs of gloves, and those are the 2 fingerless mitts that I knit for Delaney's friends just, you know, a week and a half ago. So no other gloves for the year. I do have some planned for next year. Both my mom and my aunt have asked for full gloves. Mom wants ones that only come to about here, because she likes being able to have her fingertips available, but doesn't. But the ones that I've made her before, they cut off right around the halfway mark on the fingers, and she finds that her fingertips are still too cold. So she asked me to knit her ones that are longer, and then my Aunt Kathy just wants a pair of full gloves. So those will probably be coming up here pretty soon before the weather warms up. I knit 3 sweaters. Oh wait, I knit 1 shawl, and actually the shawl is one that you guys never saw. It was a super secret project that I knit in January. That was a sample for a book by Marie Green. I ended up knitting the berry patch out of Lolo Did It in her simple worsted in Sriracha, and I'll post pictures here. I wasn't allowed to talk about it until the book came out. The book came out in October or November, and then I forgot to mention it to you guys. So yeah, I knit this for her. The whole book is meant to be simple shawls that can be knit in about a week, and I was able to knit this in about a week. And it was very nice to knit with the worsted. A worsted weight shawl is goes really fast. So so I do recommend you checking this book out, and I enjoyed knitting the shawl, and the only thing that was hard was keeping my not mentioning it on social media for so many months. But yeah, so that was the 1 shawl that I knit, and then, as I said, I knit 3 sweaters. I knit Delaney's flax, and I knit the Brunswick, which was commission knit for Lauren at Lolo Did It. And then I also finished, I didn't even knit the entire thing in 2019, but I finished my Blue Sands cardigan, which gets a lot of wear, by the way. I wear that one a lot. It's really comfortable and warm. And then I knit 3 baby items, the sweater and hat that you just saw, and then I knit 1 other baby sweater. I think it was called Tenderheart, which was for my boss's grandson. So that was what I managed to do for babies. And then I knit 5 cowls. Several of them were Christmas gifts, or given at the end of the year. I knit the 3 opportunity brioche cowls for my dad, my husband, and my uncle, and then I knit my Aunt Kathy the hood cowl thing, and I've got 5 down here. 1, 3, 4. I knit myself the Land of Sweets cowl, because I didn't put any of the lace in it. I just knit it with stockinette through minis that I had gotten in last year's Advent. That one has been one of the best things that I ever made for myself, because I use it all the time. It is great for these cold days because it is so long. It scrunches up real good, and it just really keeps you warm, even though it's at a loose gauge and it's fingering weight yarn. No real air gets through, and you can pull it up over your mouth and nose, and if you don't have a hat, you can kind of wear it as a hood as well. It is really versatile, and I've kind of been commissioned to knit one of those for my mom and Aunt Kathy as well. But I have plenty of minis. because I keep doing these advent swaps, and so I've got plenty to knit for them. And yeah, that was it. Oh, no, sorry. Last thing is I knit 11 pairs worth of heels, toes, and cuffs out of the sock tubes that I have gotten from, that I've purchased from Aptly Juice. I'll try to link her shop down below. She cranks the tube out of your yarn, and then you add the toes, heels, and cuffs and make socks. So I did that on 11 different pairs of socks for that. And I want to say, I know I had mentioned when I posted around Thanksgiving that I was going to do a video tutorial on how to put toes, heels, and cuffs into a sock tube. I still want to do that, but I have not been able to. And I feel bad because I really want to. I'm just not sure when I'm going to be able to do that. Unfortunately, my busy season is January. We do the 1099s for all of the offices for my company in Colorado, and it's quite a lot of work. And so I am going to be pretty busy this month, but I am still hoping to do it. So please be patient with me. I know you guys will be, and hopefully I'll be able to get it done and up eventually. Okay, that is all that I knit in 2019. I did sort of keep up with my knitting bingo, which is done through Erin of Bling Your String. She has the She Must Knit podcast on Instagram, on YouTube, and Bling Your String group on Ravelry. She does these. I think this is like the second or third year that she's done it like this. But I like it. I like filling it out and seeing how much I can get accomplished. As you can see, I didn't do too badly, but I did make sure that 2019's bingo card was simple for me so that I could get it finished. Things that I managed. I knit a pair of socks for Ron. I knit pre-2018 stash. I knit myself a scrappy cowl with the Land of Sweets cowl. I did start my bulky weight sweater, but I did not get it finished with the Tega, so I can't mark this off, but I do feel like I made a good progress on it. I didn't make Mom the shawl that she had originally asked for years ago, and we talked about it, and I don't think I'm actually going to make it, but I am going to make her the scrappy cowl, hopefully in 2020, so there's at least plans for that. I finished the fireweed socks finally after like 6 years. I did make Mom a pair of socks. I didn't make a pair of colorwork mittens, but I do have a pattern picked out. Ellie of Skein-Deer's Christmas mittens, the mystery cowl that she had for this year. That's the pattern that I want to knit, and I have the yarn for it, and I'm going to make them for my mom. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I did finish the Blue Sands cardigan finally. I knit Mom another pair of socks. I knit a colorwork yoke sweater in the, I don't know if this is really cheating a little bit because it was the Tender Heart sweater that I had knit for the baby, for my boss's baby grandchild. So it was just a small size. I think it was like a 6 to 9 month size, so kind of cutting a corner there, but it was still a colorwork yoke, so there you go. I did knit a sock blank. I don't remember what I knit. It must have been a pair of socks. Must have been at the beginning of the year. Yeah, if I find a picture, maybe I'll post it. Then a free space. I knit, this says knit 3 hats. I knit 12, 15 hats, so yeah, covered that. This says finish free your fade shawl. I actually didn't finish it, I frogged it. That is what I had originally cast on for the yarn that I made Delaney's sweater that I just finished the other week out of the Zen Yarn Garden yarn. That was supposed to be the Free Your Fade shawl, and I ended up frogging it and knitting a sweater out of it anyway instead. So I figured that counts because I used the yarn. I didn't just frog it, but I used up all the yarn. And that was the point of finishing the shawl, was to use the yarn. So yes, did that. I did start a scrappy crochet blanket. I'm gonna count it because the hibernate blanket that I'm knitting out of the Bernat blanket yarn is out of 7 different skeins, and so I'm going to count that as scrappy because it's 7 different skeins and it's crochet, and that was the point of this. I should have just said start a crochet blanket because I did that. That was the point. I knit Delaney multiple pairs of socks. I knit my first pair of Christmas socks. I ended up knitting, like 5 or 6 pairs this year. I knit Aunt Kathy a pair of socks. I knit Delaney another pair of socks. I knit my Dally cowl. I did do that. I knit Ron a pair of socks. I did not finish the Hippo Scrappy sweater, but I am working on it. This just says knit sweater. I'm not going to count it because I only knit just, a couple of sweaters this year, and that was supposed to be an extra one for me, and I didn't get an extra one finished. And then I knit my uncle a pair of socks. So I did pretty good. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares that I didn't get filled. But I feel like I did pretty good. I'm not going to complain about it too much. And I haven't planned my bingo card for next year yet. I am hoping to do that or for next year, for this year, for 2020. Yet I am hoping to do that soon, but I have to kind of give it some more thought. So, yeah, all in all, 2019 was not terrible for my knitting, but it isn't the best year that I've ever had. I do have just a little bit of newly acquired stuff. I did open my Christmas Day full skeins for the Advent swaps that I had done with Sue and Michelle. This is the yarn that I got from Sue, and I believe that she dyed this herself, and it is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. So bright and happy. I don't know about the base. It doesn't have a tag, but I just really love it. It's very bright and happy. And then Michelle, she did, since she is the one who cranks the yarn, she went ahead and cranked me the skein, which is what I had asked for. She asked if I wanted it, and I said yes. So I have two mini tubes. I asked her to go ahead and put the ribbing in for me. So I have the 2 mini tubes, and I will make myself a pair of socks, and then whatever's left I will use for socks for Delaney. This yarn is Twin Mommy Creations. Oh, here is the tag. Twin Mommy Creations in the colorway Cranberry Firewater. It is an 80-20 blend, and it's beautiful. Burnt orange is my favorite shade of orange, and this is gorgeous. So, gonna add this to my project bag with the rest of the sock tubes that I haven't finished, and hopefully get that taken care of soon. And then lastly, I showed you the project bags that my aunt made for me. My mom and my brother put their heads together and made this for me. My brother painted it. He's a bit of an artist, and then my mom got it set up with these beads so that I could put my progress keepers on it. I wanted something. A lot of my progress keepers were sitting in bags, little baggies, and I would forget about them all the time. And so I asked for them to kind of come up with something so that I could keep them all together, and this is the solution, and I absolutely love it. And you can see I've got all the progress keepers I could find. I'm sure there are more around on there, and now I can have them on display and use them when I want to, which is awesome. So I just need to get it hung on the wall, and it's perfect. It works exactly as I was hoping it would work. And now I need to get more progress keepers because I obviously have more room. And that's it. That's this podcast, and I'm done. And yeah, we're gonna go and do some family things for New Year's Day. My uncle is flying back home to California today, and so want to take advantage of his last few hours here. We're gonna go get some food. There's a really cool hot dog place that does game hot dogs. It's called Biker Jim's in downtown Denver, and it's awesome. And so we're gonna go there for lunch, and yeah, we're just gonna have fun. So I hope you guys really enjoy your new year. I hope your 2020 is amazing, and I'll talk to you later. Happy knitting. Bye.